Hello, this is Jody back from Jody's Gems Quilting again. And today I'm going to record a video because I'm losing my memory. I made scarves. I knitted scarves years ago. I'm not a big knitter. Don't get excited. I have no clue. I only know enough to be dangerous. That's what I tell people all the time with technology. A lot of what I do, it's like I only know enough to be able to do what I do. So if you're looking for professional, you're looking for a knitter who does these amazing, beautiful scarves like my girlfriends, go to Ravelry. That's the place to go. This is just so that I can remember down the road when I need to make these again, how in the world I did it. It's the same reason I did the crocheted kitchen towels too. It's like, because I can't remember. So anyway, let me show you what I'm talking about. Years ago, these were really popular. Remember this fur that we would buy at the fabric store? And it's a 1/4 yard. You would stitch it in half, right sides together, turn it inside, didn't even take the selvages off, turn it inside out, and you had an instant scarf. So I love these because I would get cold, just even around the house. I just want something. Now I'm hot flashing half the time, so I have things on, I have things off. I constantly put on a sweater. I take it on and off all day long, and I'm okay with that. So let me show you that it just depends on what, if I'm hot or cold at the moment. So with these, my husband hated them. He's like, they look like you're wearing a rug. And I'm like, seriously? I loved them because I had every color. I have red, I have pink, I have blues, I have teal, I have purple. I mean, any color you can imagine. And I liked them, but there was always these tails in my way. So if I'm cooking or I'm doing whatever, laundry or whatever, the tails would always get in my way and be, just obnoxious. So I had, the fun fur was out at the time. And so I bought fun fur, made my scarves. I have a couple of them. I gave a lot as gifts and gave them away. This is what they look like after several years. And yes, I did wash this recently, but I think I need to use like shampoo because that will take and cut the greases, the oils from your body oils. But why I love this is my favorite scarf of everything I've made. I've made shawls, I've made all kinds of, things, but this is my favorite because I fold it in half. I call it my rat tail. I wrap it around, pull the ends through, and I don't have anything in my way. It's just keeping my shoulders, my neck warm, and I love it. It works really well. So I'm going to show you how I make these today, and that's for my, later on information. But I'm doing it because I can't remember nothing. I can remember things, and yes, I take supplements and I do all that for my brain, and I'm good. I just have too much going on in my head. So what I did was I practiced. I pulled out, this is on my APQ UFO challenge for this month. So I pulled it out. I had 2 different sizes of needles, of bamboo needles. I have all the old metal needles, but I really like the bamboo. And so I have 2 sizes and I couldn't remember which one I had used. So that's another reason why I'm doing this. But I pulled out at one of my skeins of fun fur, and I'll show you the package on that so you know what to look for. And I was like, I can't remember how many stitches I did. I can't remember how to do this. And even now I was like, oh my gosh, I had to look up how to cast on. I'm like, how can I not know how to cast on? I have been knitting on and off for over 40 plus years, but just had a blur in my brain and I couldn't remember. So don't hesitate to go on YouTube and find a video real simple on how to cast on, how to cast off, everything, because I forget to. And same with casting off. I was like, oh, I forgot, which just happens. So anyway, this is one I tried and I was like, oh, this works. I think I got the right size needle, but guess what? When I got it done, it does not wrap around twice, barely. And I was like, uh-oh, I got too many stitches on there. So I tried the next one. The next one I did was the black one, I think. And I was like, oh, so I did less stitches this time, same size needle. And that worked really, oh, I tried this one later. I'll show you the other one I tried because I thought I had the wrong size needles too. But anyway, this one, I love this. I wear a lot of black and white and dark blue. So anyway, I'm excited. I have my black scarf done. This is the other one I tried. Yes, this one here. This is the one I tried with the smaller needles. I don't know if you can see it, but look how tiny. It made really small stitches. So it's like, oh, that's not it. But once you're in, you're in. And I love this yarn when it was in a ball, but I don't like it, made up because it's just very stripy. But also with a smaller needle, it didn't work either. It doesn't go around twice. So hence, that's the wrong thing. So then I kept going, got the black one done. I did this one the other day. And so it is much more, it's looser. It's looser, works better. So I'm going to take you over. Oh, one more. Yep. This is one of my old ones that I made years ago, and it's wider. So of course, it doesn't wrap around twice either. I don't wear it very often because I'm not an orange person, but I loved the red. So I'm going to have to find some red yarn maybe. Maybe I do have some. And then I had this chunky yarn, or what's called a crinkle yarn. And I went, huh. So I was just messing around practicing, and I was like, I want to try this. I had directions for what's called a slit scarf. And so I read the directions. I was like, it's not really making sense to me, but I'm going to try it. So I will show you how to do this too, because I kind of like it. So you put it on. There's my hole. I can wrap it around twice and pull it through. And that's all I really need. Okay. So it's kind of cute. I like the color of it. And I figured if I didn't like it, it's a gift. Somebody will like it. And I do Operation Christmas Child shoeboxes. So I'm always looking for fun, like soft things to put in there for teenage girls. I've been doing sewing kits for teenage girls for the last couple of years. And I think this would be a really nice addition to that. So if it doesn't work for me, it'll work for somebody. And I will be right back. Just one second. Okay. So a few supplies you're going to need are, these are old wooden needles that I've had for years, vintage needles. And so I'm going to use these today because I don't have my, these are already, this is what I'm using to show you, but these are my new ones. And I believe, do you see that? It's a clover number 10, I believe. So that is, there's a 15 and then a 10-1. You tell me what size. I don't have a clue. All I know is I'm looking for big needles. But I need that for this, as I show you the project. We're going to use these because it's the size that I want to show you with. And then a pair of scissors. I just use little scissors. I use a lot of kids' scissors. And of course, I love them when they're on a pull, like a badge holder. And then a needle. This is really helpful. I have never used one of these, and I ran across this in my collection the other day, and I was like, I'm going to try this. It works fabulous for weaving the ends through. So a large needle that you can weave the ends through. And then the yarn, when I was doing it, I was using this fun fur. So these are like the original ones I got. This one's from Ollie's for 99 cents. I was buying them wherever, originally, because I didn't live here, so there was no Ollie's where I live. But these, I love these variegated, and that's what what I call my rat tail, what they look like. Looks like I have a pink and a teal. This one, I've got some lighter pink and blues. I got a lot of them. Another purple. I got more purple, and then I have this black, another black, and I don't remember. It might be Hobby Lobby. I don't know who has this. It's called Cello. And it is, but I use a whole skein. So when I started, I just go until I get to the end of the skein, make sure I have enough to tie off, and I'm good to go. So I do recommend a bin or a bowl. I use a salad bowl, one of those really nice wood salad bowls that I don't use for salad. Somebody had given me, and I put my yarn in there, and it works great as a bowl, a yarn bowl, because I looked at those online, and I was like, oh my goodness. They are worth that. Yes, they cost a lot. This is my website in case you're a quilter, jodysgemsquilting.com. This is the fun fur. That's what can you see that? That's what the slit scarf looks like. So let me give you the directions for this, just in case you want it. And they say it's 6 by 30 inches. I did not make mine 6 inches wide. As you can see, it's about 3 or 4 inches wide. And they use a fun fur 1 ball, size 11 knitting needles. And they actually do a gauge. And then you do need a stitch holder on this. That is true. And they give you a gauge, the seed stitch. I don't even know what that is, except that I believe it's how many stitches you put on your rows. I am telling you that these are all 8 stitches. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 on my thing. I think they have 16 on there. Cast on 16 stitches. Work in the seed stitch until piece measures 4 inches from beginning. So I did 4 inches roughly on here. So that's for this scarf with a slit in it. That's not the one I want to remember to do, but I'm just going to show you because what I did, it talks about casting on 16 stitches and then you have to knit 1, purl 1, knit 1, purl 1. Guess what? My brain can't comprehend that well. And then you switch from knit 1, purl 1 in the first row all the way across to purl 1, knit 1 all the way across and then back and forth. I am not a professional. I told you that, remember? So this, I got to keep it simple. I'm one of those keep it simple, stupid people. And so they're all knit. I like the look of it. I don't care. It's all about staying warm. So I did 8 stitches across and then I knit back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. I went up about 4 inches roughly around there. Then you knit up one side. And the only way I could figure out, and I did talk to other knitters and they couldn't tell me how to do this either. It says, I'll read it to you just so you know. You work up 4 inches from beginning. The slit, you work even in pattern on first 8 stitches for 3.5 inches and place stitches on holder. Join the yarn to the remaining 8 stitches and work even for 3.5 inches. Then work across all 16 stitches, continue in pattern until scarf measures 30 inches from beginning. Bind off all stitches, weave in ends. Okay, there's the directions. I'm going to tell you what I did because I just kind of estimated 4 inches, 3.5, 4 inches, and of course it stretches. But what I did was I placed these on a stitch holder, which for me was just a pen. I literally didn't have anything. So I would run a pen through there, through my stitches and onto here. And that was my pen hole. That was my stitch holder. Or a safety pin would work, but I didn't have one handy at the time. I had a pen with me. Then I worked up this side. And then when it came down to bring the yarn down to start over here, I couldn't figure out how to weave it in. And the other girls that I talked to couldn't either. So you would have to, I didn't have the patience to go on Ravelry and find out how to do it. So I literally cut my yarn, left a tail. Then I started down here and I started with the yarn and then continued and I wove and I created this side. Then when I got up to where they were even or pretty close to even, this one actually I had to take it back out. I had it all cast off and I had to take it back out because the 2 sides weren't even. So try and get them. This one was a little easier to see where the rows were. The other one was not so much. Then you start with your 16 and go back and forth. And I just did it until I got the length that this was one skein right here. So I did whatever I could get out of one skein. I also have another skein, but I don't want to use it. I mean, I didn't want to just dip into it a little bit because I'll make another scarf. It'll be fine. It'll work. And I left a tail because I'm going to show you how I weave those in. So let me show you how to get started. I do recommend instead of the fun fur, which easily I could dig into and do, it's hard to see with the fun fur. So until you get used to this, I do recommend that you just use regular straight yarn. This one worked well too, but I don't have it available to show you how to start it. So we're going to start it with regular yarn. But I bring the yarn around and bring it through. So there's my first stitch. Okay. And then I hold it like this and I come down, through, around, and back through. So, and if you know how to knit, then you already know how to do this. If you don't know how to knit, then just rewind this many times. So it's not super tight. That's the key. I remember all the years I learned to knit as a child that you got to keep them loose because you got to get the needle back through there. So I'm bringing it around, through. Now there are probably other ways to do this. I have no idea. I do know that I knit a little differently, definitely differently than my mother does. I'll show you how she does it, but I never got the knack of that. So the whole goal is, and I cast on 8 stitches. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I got one too many. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So you just slip one off. Okay. Then what you're going to do, make sure you have plenty of yarn out. When you go to knit, and like I said, she does it differently than I do. Like I crochet. Everybody, I always feel like everybody's a crocheter or a knitter, and their brain wraps around one better than the other. So this is how we do it when we knit or crochet. That's how my mother knits. I can't do it this way, but I can. I'm going to show you. But you have to come through. So you come in. That's why you keep it loose enough. And now I got to stop and think. Yes. You have to bring it around. Nope, goes the other way. It has to come this way and bring it through. So if you don't like this video for this, that's okay. That's not what I'm here to do, is to teach you how to yarn or knit. I'm here to just remind myself how to do this. Okay, so she does it really fast by looping it and doing it whatever. I'm going to show you how I do it, and I've always done it this way. Forever and a day. I cannot knit any other way. So for me, it's faster to just hang on to my yarn on the right hand, get my needle through there, bring it around and through. So I go in, bring it around and through. Go in, bring it around and through. And guess what? On my furry scarves, it's 8 stitches. I do 8 stitches, 8 stitches, 8 stitches. That rat tail is 8 stitches wide. Once I get the 8 stitches done, just like that, then you just turn it around. And you do it again from the other side. I can't purl either, so don't even ask. I'm like, I tried it and I was like, no, it's not working. I tried that scarf, this one that's supposed to be knit one, purl one. I was like, I don't remember how to do it. Don't get it. Don't have to. So you do what works for you. If you want to purl all the way across, do you want to knit? You want to knit, purl, whatever your little heart desires. Buy lots of yarn. Try them all different ways. So this is basic knitting. Super easy to do. And I will tell you, I have 2 adult grown children now, 2 adult daughters. And when they were little, I taught them both how to knit and how to crochet. One of them liked to knit and one of them liked to crochet. So your brain will work better doing one than the other. And I find that true with a lot of adults. We can do both, but when we have a choice, we gravitate to one over the other. So, as you can see, this is not what I would consider ideal for, yeah, there we go, for this thin of a yarn. This is just a regular red heart yarn I've had forever. Now, a lot of times the package will tell you, here's a crochet hook. Use I number 9. There's a pattern on the back. I know on these other ones, it would tell you what size needles to use. So this one here says 10.5 or 6.5 millimeter knitting needles. For this one, for the crochet hook, it has a K or 10.5. I don't know if that means just to use the yarn. That's what they recommend. Or if it's to meet the gauge, I'm not sure. And then they have a number 5 bulky. So I suppose each yarn tells you like how to use it, how to work with it, and what to do with it. But that'll give you an idea of how to do the knitting. I'm only going to do one more row. And you can rewind it or you can delete it and go watch another show to learn how to knit. Like I said, this is how I've been doing it forever. And I sat in a meeting this morning, and it was a really interesting meeting. And yes, I took notes, but I will tell you, I got the majority of my scarf made in just a couple hours at that meeting, sitting there at that meeting. I know I did, because then I went on to my sponge. I'm going to do a video on how I crochet kitchen sponges or homemade sponges too. So anyway, it looks pretty bad, but that's how you knit. That's how you cast on, and that's how you knit. When you get done, so this is the scarf I did. I did this much last night because I didn't want to have to mess around with a slit and do all that. I had it ready to go today. And I wove the threads through, or my yarn through already, but I did this much right here in just a couple hours this morning. Not even a couple hours, just probably an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to cast off, because this I had to also look up. This, I have to tell you, this yarn is really soft. I like this yarn, this chunky Serenity. Not sure I would make a bunch of these, and I might do wider. If you want it wider, go for it. But I'm going to show you how to cast off because I couldn't remember how to do it either. So you do go ahead and knit one. Then you knit your second one, and you bring your first stitch over the top of the one you just did. Then you knit another one, bring this one over, you knit another stitch, bring the previous one over. See, I could remember parts of this, but I couldn't remember how to do it exactly. It was bad. I tried, and it was like, oh, I missed one thing, and then it doesn't work. Okay. Oops, almost continued on. Once you get in a rhythm, it's like hand quilting, it's like hand piecing. You get in a rhythm and you just keep on going. English paper piecing is the same way, applique. You just keep on going. You just forget and you don't want to stop. So I do simple things. Then with this one, I cut it, and I think I went ahead and brought it through before I knotted it. So I don't know if that knots it or not. I'm not, like I said, not a professional. Don't even claim to be. So just take your thread. Now this one, I have more yarn. So I could have made it longer, but I didn't want it longer. I figured this was long enough. Oh, and I did add a little bit. I think a few more inches, which will be good because this one I'd have to stretch out to make it work. But you're going to take it through your needle and you're just going to weave it, because I couldn't figure out, the threads do release after a few years of using it. They fall out and you're like, but what did I do wrong? I don't know. So just weave it through the stitching. Okay. In between, in the middle of the fibers, wherever you can get it to go. And you don't want to tighten it up so tight that it distorts the whole design. Now this, I added more of this teal color because I was in here and I was ending it right here with the teal, and I was like, oh, that does not work well. And because I didn't want this thread, this yarn, being able to be visible in the lighter color. So I just found, instead of going up through the piece, I discovered I think it'll hold better going back and forth and then bringing it back through. Now I did notice down here, there you go. And see, I got that all in there and buried. If you have a tail, just clip off the tail if it's too long. Now in here, you'll notice this seems to be brought in a little bit. I think it's because of all that stitching. I wove the ends in there. So anyway, my scarf is now ready to use. I'll see if I like it. And again, if I don't, it goes in an Operation Christmas Child shoebox. Somebody will love it. Some young girl. Let me show you this one. And the other thing I did not put in here is what to do when you drop threads. Like if you drop a stitch or you get too many. I did find that 8 works good for me, and I need to count every single row. In one of my scarves, when I was starting out, especially with the fun fur, I would end up with 1 extra stitch. I was like, oh my gosh. So you can rip your stitches out and then go back and figure out how to get them back in. See, this is going to take a lot of weaving in, I think, because I got to go between, like through the yarn to get it to work. Because it's so loose, so loosely done. But you can't even see it, right? And like I said, if you're a quilter, go to my website. Please give me great reviews, even if it's, she's not a professional. No, I'm not. I'm just like doing what I need to do. But I will show you, my other video I'm going to do is a kitchen sponge. and it looks like this. So I've got my demo for that. So come back and check that out. And hopefully tell your friends and subscribe to my channel if you want to. I do all different things. Sometimes I do gardening ones. I do recipes. Sometimes I put in there how to make bone broth. But anyway, after doing it back and forth 4 times, I think I'm good. And I'm just going to cut it off. So that one's ready to go. But what I thought I would do really quick is show you, like, if you miss a stitch or you lose your stitches or they fall apart, you can go back if you're careful and fix it. You just